Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hour 2. Okay, so quick little announcement, just because I forgot to say so earlier. Eric did say that if you wanted to spend the loyalty points or the daddies, you're welcome to do so using the Eberron rules. So just find the ones that you can purchase through the Eberron rules, and you're welcome to throw them at these characters or these whatevers instead of, obviously, the Eberron team. If you don't want to, awesome. All right, Eric, please take over.
I just want to add that don't try to use the trump cards. We don't have enough time to just get derailed like that.
Nobody has that many points.
I assumed as much, but I just wanted to make it quite clear. Just
it's like 100,000. Nobody has that.
Yeah, it's a crazy amount, but I just want to make sure because we don't have time for that. So
until he gives them to me.
And so you guys, after this this very jarring teleportation, find yourself in what you can only describe as somewhere between like a very cramped set of buildings and like just outside of what looks like a city square, but all the buildings here seem just way too expensive and grandiose for any normal city. The immediate area, as soon as you step out, you notice that you guys are in like an alleyway. So you it's just kind of very jarring to see that you just teleport into this alleyway. As you step out, you see a circle with a number of different buildings here. 4 buildings face this circle with a large fountain. The fountain, however, is not like any fountain you've seen before. You see the base of the fountain. It looks as normal. There's even some silver and copper pieces in there, but the head of the fountain itself is floating above the base, and it's pouring continuous amounts of water into the base. As you kind of look around, you see a few people just milling around the circle that kind of regard you strangely at first, but then go back to whatever they're doing. The best that I could describe the atmosphere here is it almost seems like the city isn't even in siege. You actually can't even hear the combat from here.
Okay, so this fountain, does it seem ornate, like statues and stuff, or just like a bowl and stone with water coming out?
It's very simplistic. Even the buildings around here, everything looks very minimalist, though it's obviously very well designed and crafted.
All right, I imagine my sword is still out. Oh no, my bow is still out from combat, so I'll sling that over my shoulder to be a bit more discreet, and immediately look to the sky to try to find this floating thing that he was referring to.
You see nothing above you.
Okay.
Though you do see the clouds seem a lot closer.
I'm like, so I'll turn to them and be like, I don't understand. He said that there would be something floating above our heads, and yet there's nothing floating.
I believe that we are on the floating device, most likely.
It doesn't feel as though I'm in the air.
Law stamps one clawed foot on the ground, like.
So are you guys being like, are you guys trying to be quiet in your conversation or just talking normally? One of the people
probably trying to be quiet.
I'm not
normal.
So one of the people sitting nearby is like reading a book.
That's discreet, okay?
Is reading a book, looks kind of annoyed for a second, and then looks up kind of like strangely at you guys. He closes his book and stands up. He says, you're on the you're at the university. Are you guys from here?
No.
You don't look like you're from here.
No.
How'd you get in?
magic.
Same way you got in.
I've lived here for all my life.
You were born here?
Well, I was born in the city proper, but
we arrived the same way you did. I'll roll a deception.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm no problem with that.
Go ahead.
All right, deception. Does anybody guide me?
I don't have guidance, mate.
Wouldn't you be able to even cast guidance without this guy noticing?
Yeah.
I doubt it.
I guess.
No, maybe
actually,
just like pat his shoulder, I guess.
No, actually, I put my arms around both of you, and I kind of wiggle one of my fingers and cast this on Ingram and say, "Oh, well, these are my pals. We're just taking a little stroll here. Sorry if we bothered you while you're reading."
Nice. All right, he kind of looks strangely at you guys for a moment. And he says, "Oh well, I figured at this point in my life I'd know everyone, but I guess the city's big enough still. Well, welcome to the College Arcana. If you need any pointing out, let me know.
Oh, how nice of you, young fellow. Your mother taught you well. And then she kind of, as she has her arm still around Ingram and Lauren, it's kind of like pushing them to move.
Oh, do we not want to ask him? Okay.
So I'm really dumb. So I'll be like, as I'm like moving along with her, be like, we don't want to bother you, but do you like jerk me further along, or you just I'm gonna keep speaking?
Yeah, she's motioning you guys to move.
All right, I'll kind of okay, and then just not finish what I was saying.
The guy just like kind of looks very strangely as you guys just walk away, and then shrugs and goes and sits down. As you make your way,
nice.
Maybe he could have given us a map.
Oh, I can make map.
Don't you have to see the city to make a map of the city?
I can smell the city is better.
The whole city at the same time?
I can smell that someone over there is peeling oranges, and Laura's is keen on these things.
What's an orange?
The most delicious thing in the world.
Orange is a color. How do you eat the color?
It is in ball form.
You ball up the color. Is this more magic?
It tastes like magic. It's
It
amazing.
is a type of
You'll see.
fruit.
If it tastes like
It's quite delicious.
it's
I
a fruit.
wouldn't say it is the most delicious, though. It has a bit of tang.
Was it made by the gods? Is that why the color has taken the name
Well,
of the fruit?
all things
Well,
are made
everything's
by the
made
gods.
gods.
Fair.
You can't ask that question to Clary.
We literally both answered the same thing at the same time.
so as you guys are striding down the way, kind of trying to figure out where you're going, you see a number of people just walking back and forth very idly. Like all of them seem to have noses in books. As you head your way a little bit away from the center that you guys were arrived at, you look up and you see, to your amazement, a huge tower off in the distance. Actually, you can see multiple towers as you continue to turn your way around. You see different colored towers that line the outside here. Anyone who would like to make an Arcana check can do so.
Sure, because
I've
it
got-
went well last time.
I have a -1.
I actually have a
I'm just gonna
+1 to this, so
Oh, jeez.
17.
Nice. So you actually can identify that they each of these towers seem to correspond with one of the arcane disciplines, one of the various different. God, why am I blanking on the name of this?
Circles of magic or schools
Yeah,
of magic?
yeah,
Elements?
schools
I
of
know what
magic.
you
Thank you,
mean.
schools of magic. Thank you, Jesus. I couldn't think of it. Yeah, one of the various schools of magic.
I think disciplines is also pretty legit.
Yeah, disciplines can work. I think that's more of like usually a divination. They usually go with disciplines because it's like law, order, justice. It's
Yeah.
like versus like schools is like
Yeah, that is
learning and knowledge.
Yeah.
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 So you guys kind of look your way around, and nothing seems to be like anything useful to you. But then, almost as low, like it hit you on the head, you see this huge building off in the distance. This place that can't be anything but a palace with how lavish it is. There are floating turrets above it, kind of, and you see guards lining the way there, just kind of looking around the city proper. And you see that the walls of this castle are made of, like, rather than like stone, like this opaque sort of blue crystal that completely surrounds the castle. So
Well, it appears that is where we need to go. Although it does appear that we will have a little bit of turbulence, as Laura likes to say.
I do like turbulence, although the meaning of your passing I completely do not understand.
Trouble.
Wait, you think they will have
Trouble,
issue with me
Laura.
trying to
There-
go into palace?
There might be trouble. That is what I mean by that.
Oh, no,
like-
everybody loves this. What would they have against clerics of Ilmater wanting to go and see their lovely home? We're here to see a king, right? We should have asked the cleric back in Selavu for a note or something.
I don't think he would have been well received. I think we're supposed to be here to convince him that he should be well received.
We're going to go in the brig, aren't we?
I'm not sure what that is, but if there's somebody to fight, I'll make sure that they suffer.
Oh yeah, there'll be people to fight.
Nailed it. So, with that, you guys make your way towards the castle. As you get closer, you guys get like this overwhelming smell, this like very off-putting smell as you get closer. Something that anyone here of any arcane background, which we'll just say that Gadara, with her last successful roll, can actually identify this as the smell of sulfur. As you get closer to this place, and you can quickly tell what is producing the sulfur. As you look off the right-hand side, the side facing towards the front wall, you see dozens of fireballs raining down consistently, firing off from that side.
Is there a dragon that exists here? I say, slowly drawing my sword.
Are these fireballs going towards this palace or away from?
They're
They're going
outside.
out to the people sieging the city.
Gotcha. Okay.
And as you guys kind of look over, you see that there appear to be returning blast from the trebuchets, bouncing off what appears to be some sort of field of protection that surrounds this place, completely just careening off without damaging it at all.
This explains why people are so calm, at least. I thought they were all just brain damaged.
So with that, you guys make your way up to the front gate of this castle. There stands two guards, very lightly armored, both of them wielding swords. However, both their swords are sheathed, their hands at their front, and they kind of look you over as you walk up. Make me a perception check.
Okay. I have a +2 to this, and I rolled a 5.
So
it just turns out Gadara isn't lucky.
Yeah, I'm just very unlucky.
Lore notices that both of these guys wear a matching set of rings on their left hand with an emblazoned symbol that you don't recognize. But other than that, you don't notice really anything of merit about them. One of the people, as you walk forward, he says, "Halt! Who are you?"
I'll actually look to what's his face? The little
If you look to Law,
yeah.
Law looks to Gadara.
I'm actually good at lying, so I can take care of it. But
Law knows that Law is a kobold.
yep.
Right? He's not going to be the first
lying.
person to talk.
So I look to Laura looks to her,
Laura?
she looks to me, and I'll step forward. Because I'm
Yeah.
good at
Laura?
lying.
With
I'm
your
good
hand-
at telling what's going on, but I'm not good at
Yeah.
lying.
I'll
And
step
I think
forward
as a
and
party, we all kind of should know
Yeah.
each other's strengths. Yeah.
So I'll step forward and say, we are here to speak about this war and how to bring it to an end quickly.
Oh, are you? So who? And one of the other guards says, "Wait a second. I think I know these guys. They were supposed to meet with the king." The other guard looks at him suspiciously and says, "I don't remember." No. Trust me. I remember being told this. We should let them in. And the other guard, looking very confused, says,
Seems like somebody
okay.
was appropriately briefed this morning.
He just looks at you guys strangely, looks at the other guard, and he says, "Okay, well, if you guys will, I wouldn't bother drawing your weapons once you enter the domain. It will be impossible."
That is a strange turn of phrase.
No, it's true. The other guard responds, and with that, you see that he turns around. He makes a motion on the gate behind him, and it flies open. And with that, he steps through and kind of beckons you guys to follow him.
Follow right
The deer
afterwards.
follows.
As you do that, he kind of, as you guys both make your way across the gate, he makes a motion in the air, and you see the gate fly down to close. But it's almost silent when it hits the ground.
Mhm.
He says, he kind of looks around him, and he looks back to you. He says, I have already been contacted by Garrett. I am well aware of your situation, and I was told to get you guys inside. I can get you to the king, but I can't promise you any results.
So we don't actually have meetings.
Oh,
set
you
for the
can
king.
leave that up to us.
No, not exactly. But I don't know how much Garrett told you, but I'll just fill you in really quickly, and hopefully you guys can take it from here. The king is not really the king. He's the king consort. We have a queen, or we had a queen, until a number of years ago. She up and disappeared. She was ought to do that. She was an adventurer in her previous life, and she was always making off to make pilgrimages to various places. But usually she came back, but after the war, she never returned. There was a triumvirate of 3 siblings who ruled over the city. One who is the commander of the military. One, our princess away from home, who is currently stuck in the Wild Heart, many hundreds of miles south of here, and the queen herself. The commander ceded his responsibility when the war started, so he could focus on the military, leaving only the king consort, and the people don't really trust him. And there is one more complication. There's an heir, but he's 8 years old, and there's other complications. He's not the true son of the king and the queen. She had the son before, and the child is how do I put this lightly? He's not entirely human, or I should say, he's not entirely elf either.
He looks. I'll actually look around at the 2 people that are with me, and then look back at him and say, "Is that a problem?"
Yes, his other half is fiendish in nature.
Okay.
This was not something that the queen wanted, but there's it's a kind of open secret in the castle, and the people are aware of it, and they've been mostly accepting, and there's a small pocket of dissenters who wish for him to become the actual king of the country. But even if he was to become king, he would still need a steward, someone to guide his hand, being that he's so young. And it would fall once again to our king consort, Adrian.
These
Our hope-
details have my head swinging. Let's keep things one bit at a time. Which side of the fence are you on? Are you a defector or are you a loyalist?
I'm with you. Whatever King Adrian decides, I will follow him. But I want to help you guys.
Which
That's
king
why
is
I'm
going
here.
to do best for his people and all the other peoples of the local lands?
You ask me, having a kid as a king will only serve to destabilize the nation.
Who's the proper
What is wrong
king?
with?
It's the
Technically,
boy.
the child.
Yeah, the fiend.
What is wrong with King being 8 years old? That sounds plenty old enough to me.
Well, a child of an elven child is very different, or a half-elven child in this case, is very different from a kobold, at least in immaturity. He is much more akin to the way that a kobold would be of half his age or
Oh,
younger.
I see how this is issued.
Yes, but it's also his fiendish blood, whereas that tends to lead to a corrupt soul doesn't always. Ilmater has taught to welcome a warm embrace to all who show that they are worthy of it, and his fiendish blood can make him mature very quickly. It'll also help him root out those that would stand against him more easily. His evil cunning will be able to see through the guise of many, and I look him up and down and say, defectors. So, I'm not here to change the seat of power. I'm here to save the people who suffer. Let us see this boy.
Well, first you need to meet his father. I present to you King Consort Adrian, and he opens the door, and you see a grandiose looking throne room. There, up a small set of stairs on a platform, there stands two large thrones, one incredibly ornate, completely encrusted with this sort of opaque blue crystal that you saw the castle lined in, and to its left a much more simple steel throne, and in that simpler steel throne sits a man. In any other context, you would not consider this man to be a king. He is dressed finely, however, he doesn't seem to be dressed royally. He wears relatively simplistic clothes, and were it not for the crown on his head, you would confuse him for just a noble. He has, leaning against the throne, a lute that he absentmindedly just plucks strings on one at a time, humming to himself as he just kind of stares off at a wall on the opposite side. There's a number of soldiers standing throughout this area. Laura notices each of them has that same corresponding ring on their hand with the same symbol, and they're all very lightly armored with a short blade or a scimitar on their side. As you step in, you see the king kind of stirs for a moment. And he looks up at you, and he seems very confused. And then he stands up, and you see the guards kind of like, as he stands up, the guards stand at attention.
Before we go in the room, while Ingram and the fellow were talking, could I have casted something?
Yeah. What would you like to cast?
I would like to cast Enhance, and basically she pulls out like an eagle feather, and like kind of like a magic trick, flicks it up and flicks it back down into her sleeve, and just touches Ingram slightly while they're just having a conversation, and she casts Eagle Splendor. You get advantage on charisma checks.
All right. I'm good at lying, not as good at diplomacy, but that will help me a lot. So
Yeah.
cool. All right.
Still, you're the best of the worst situation.
Yeah.
None of us are built for talking, and we're on a talking mission.
Yeah.
I'm okay. What
the
is your charisma?
It's a 14,
I'm -1.
so it's a +2.
Yeah, see, and I have a +1, so
Yeah. Cool.
Laura's
Alright,
just a
so
disgusting
the first
creature.
thing I'm gonna say is where, because I'm not gonna even notice that. The first thing I'm gonna say is where, as the door opens up and we see that he stands up, everybody stands to attention. I'm actually gonna turn to Gadira and say, quietly, but it's what my mom always called an Irish whisper. You know what I mean? So, anyways, I'm gonna kind of like lean over and be like, "It seems like his mind might be broken. Do you think that the fractals will be able to be put back together?"
That is not for me to know.
But with Ilmater's guidance, is this something you could do? And then I'll start walking in because you don't want to wait too long, right?
So as you guys
as we're walking forward, she's like,
I could, but with multiplications of that, it does not always provide the best answer.
basically, the more she does the spell, the less likely the answers that she gets are actually true.